Pull up a chair. This is Fluxtaposed episode 198, recorded on February 6, 2018. On the docket today, we have IRL. We'll probably talk about something. Get caught up on what you're playing, featuring Celeste and Cuphead. Finally, I'm going to close out the show, the community grab bag, and that sweet, sweet, awkward finish. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And most of all, enjoy the show.
Your audio is there, though. Hey, everybody.
Hi.
I gotta fix
Hi.
Jason's face.
I'm invisible. I'm invisible. Help me. Oh my goodness. What is going on? Hey everybody. Welcome to episode 198 of Fluxtaposed. We derailed into
Mediocrity.
horrible. We've never rose above mediocrity, but we're
That's true.
I just want to come in laughing each week, much like other weeks, because all the bad things I feel like have happened. So, hey guys.
All
hey
the
guys.
bad things.
Oh, so if you're listening to the audio only version of this podcast, probably nothing's changed. You've got the same whatever. I'm derailed.
Usual.
You know what? I
awful.
have Lucas. I have a sour ale from Weyerbacher tonight called the Funky Mucks.
I didn't know they made a
drink.
sour, honestly, because
Yep.
they're one of my favorite.
You
breweries.
can see the can. Nobody else can.
Whoa,
But
that's
it's
pretty
festive.
freaking. That's awesome.
So,
It's got my.
I'm just gonna take a sip of that.
Do it.
And all the disaster that's happened in this podcast wash over me, because you know what? It can only go up from here. Welcome to the show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We're happy to have you here in any way, shape, or form. This is Fluxtaposed. So we've got.
What the hell is happening?
I'm watching our live. What is?
I'm trying to fix. I'm trying to fix you, but it won't let me.
Lucas is working on our live stream right now, and it is blowing up in a horrible fashion, and I love it. Do you want to just restart the stream? Maybe.
I don't even know why you're not here. Like, window just magically disappeared.
Do you see that?
That's part of it.
All right, I'm just gonna ignore it. While Lucas is going through that, I'm just gonna ignore the live stream. Hello, chat. You guys are in my heart, and I'm just gonna focus on doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So, welcome to Fluxtaposed. Gosh, you do think after 198 episodes, we would be there. Look, I'm in the background. Oh, there I go. But I'm part of the capture's messed up. It's partially. Oh my god. Okay, I gotta focus. I gotta stop looking at what Lucas
Do you
is
have
doing.
to focus though?
It's gonna derail me, and I can't even do it. So, for the fifth time, welcome to Fluxtaposed. Yeah, this is. We'll do this on the top of the hour. This is the 198th episode. So in the matter of a couple weeks, we are going to be hitting 200. The fact that we've lasted that long anyway is an amazing concept. But yeah, we're here, and I promise I'm not going to delete the 200th episode. And we would like you, the community, the listeners, to be involved in episode 200. And, I'm trying to think of some of the logistics behind it, of how, I think it'd be interesting to do some pop-ins, but with the live show, I mean, we can't even do two of us on a live show, let alone trying to get some random people jumping in at the same time. That's probably not going to happen. But I'd like to have you guys reach out to you guys and have you send in some audio files that we could play. We're going to probably do a hodgepodge mashup of all of your. You can roast us, you can cheers to us, whichever you like. And that's what I'd like to incorporate for the show. I may or may not already have received something from an awesome listener. So if you would like to join in and do that, please do. Reach out to us on social media, figure out the best way for you to get that sent over. But, just a couple, anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute, just a small audio file, something like that would be swell. So look for that. And I hope to see as many of you as possible in the live show for episode 200. So that's going to be, this is 198. So 2 weeks from now. So we are going to be talking, pull up my handy dandy calendar because I can't remember dates, the 20th of February. That'll be episode 200. So I am assuming we're still going to record it on a Tuesday night. Hey, look it, there I am. Lucas, what do you have to say for yourself?
That was fucking miserable. I don't know what this is why I want to change programs. I don't know why that was so difficult, but I had to like totally delete your capture and then put it back on the back into
the other program.
Stream,
doesn't work either though. Other podcast creators that listen to our show, we need help. We need help with our live show.
Well, you know what they're all going to say? They're all going to say you need to pay money because you get what you pay for, and we didn't pay anything for any of this. So that's the problem.
Josh, we're going to need you to triple your Patreon pledge per month so we can get new stuff. Make that happen.
Please. I'm drinking stout now because I deserve it. New Holland Poet.
Well, now that you can participate in the show, how are you? How are you doing? You're having a great time tonight.
Here's
a table.
A little, yes. I want to give a little bit of backstory about this. I thought I had fixed this over the weekend.
This is a good sour, by the way. I like this.
It wasn't like the 2 sours we had on Battle of the Beer, where it was like, what the F is this?
This is good.
So I had worked on this over the weekend, and I thought for sure I had this fixed, but I had this inkling. I'm like, all right, there might be a little bit to dabble with before we go live, but nothing that wouldn't take more than 5 minutes. However, that proved to not be true because no matter what I did, for some reason, OBS is capable of splitting my microphone from the music. But the one specific program called Game Show that I'm trying out right now, which is nice because it has some features like you can edit a scene before you make it go live. So while Jason's talking, I would be able to like set up a trailer to play or whatever. And then you guys wouldn't have to see me doing that like you did with me trying to fix Jason's head. So it's worth it if I can get it to work. But for some reason, it won't switch. It won't separate my microphone from the rest of the audio, like music and sound effects and stuff. So very frustrating. I thought I had it fixed, and so coming in today and knowing that it was,
you think you have it fixed, and then when we push play, it doesn't. Hey, we almost didn't even record our audio going into this, so
that's
then
true.
You could have been stuck with whatever YouTube spit out. So you would think, but here's what I've learned with Fluxtaposed: nothing is for certain.
That's true.
Nothing.
I'm gonna do this now because I'm emo. That's how I'm wearing my hair now these days.
Gosh.
Well, for you audio listeners, I pulled my hair over one eye.
I've tried to, David Ray's in the chat, and we've had a discussion about milk stouts, and he can't find any milk stouts in his area. So when the great Fluxtaposed beer exchange becomes a thing, David, we'll get you some milk stouts.
That's definitely a thing that's gonna happen.
I'm hooking up Matt Knight this week. I've got his beer purchased, getting it packaged up. I'm shipping it out. So
what's he sending you?
Cheers to you,
oh wait,
Matt.
he already sent you.
He already sent me. So it's time for me to reciprocate. Finally.
Yeah, you do.
That's right.
But why did you send him nudes of yourself? Because I don't feel like he asked for that.
Well, I wanted custom artwork on those labels.
I was gonna say, he's like, this is whatever, none of your business, Stout. And if I just turn it around here, oh my God, it's Jason's junk.
That is his business.
His business is all over my face.
So now that that's out of the way, I'll send you some beer, Lucas. Yes.
Cool.
Now that all the fun is out of the way, I've given you. Please send us your stuff for episode 200. We'll remind you the next couple of weeks and on social media. I will. Let's light the mood a little bit. Let's talk a little IRL. Okay. My wife had a procedure yesterday, actually, which required her to be sedated and put into, as the doctors call, the dream sleep.
Ooh, that sounds like a terrible horror movie.
Jessica is very sensitive to medications. Cool. Doesn't typically handle things like that of that nature very well. So
has she ever been put under before? Because I have not. Okay,
no, she's never been put under. So when after everything's fine.
I would hope so.
Well, it's I'm not gonna go into details of what was done because it's somewhat of sensitive material or sensitive nature. So it's family business. Anywho, she when coming to, she's in the recovery afterwards, and she's like all groggy, and she's like, first of all, she's telling everyone, thank you. Oh, you did such a good, thank you. Everyone did a great job. Thank you. But then as she's coming to, she's like, because she couldn't eat anything. She's so hungry. She's like, I'm so hungry. When I get home, my husband better have a whole plate of French toast sticks ready.
Oh,
or I'm going to be really upset because they're Eggo and they're really good and there's cinnamon in them and I like them. And then she proceeded to say,
who's she talking to? Like the nurses?
Just whoever. Yes.
Whoever's around.
And then she proceeded to say, I want to go to IHOP. I really want an IHOP pancake, which she's never mentioned that. She's never wanted to go to IHOP in her entire life. And then I got a picture from because my mother-in-law was there with her. I got a picture from, it was sent to my wife and her dad of Jess as she's in the recovery, not feeling, you can tell she doesn't look like, looks like she doesn't feel that great. I'm like, that's a weird picture to get. So apparently she told her mom, take my picture. I want to see blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, she was.
What the hell did they give her? Yeah.
I don't know, but she called me on the way home and she's like, I really like the dream sleep. I want to bring it home.
Well, yeah.
So it was interesting experience for her, but she came through it with flying colors, so to speak. So
well, good.
That's my fun story this week.
My fear is always like, if I ever have to go under there, you ever hear those stories where people are like, I could feel everything that was happening to me, but I couldn't move or do anything.
It's like fire in the sky.
Yes, that's true.
I've been put under a few times. I usually, when I was younger, I didn't deal with the coming out of it very well. I'd always get nausea during the waking process. They normally
give you, I think they just give you.
They do now give you anti-nausea. Yeah.
Back then, they just wanted you to suffer, especially since you're a man. They're like, oh, this guy doesn't need anti-nausea medicine. He's a man. Toughen up. You were expected to be walking within 30 minutes. Like, you just get up off the table and leave. Thanks for the surgery. Bye.
When you said man, it made me think of Now You're a Man, which also made me think of when you said, not to bring up bad subject, but you're like, I'm going to play a different song at the beginning tonight.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I reorganized all my files and I can't find anything anymore.
Well, because I was horrible. Back when I had my single hard drive, I had everything on the desktop for Fluxtaposed because we didn't have as much back then and it was just easier. So now that I had to get the SSD, I'm stuck with that old Windows installation, and of course that means I have to like dig through 800 files to be able to get to my desktop from that spot. So then I finally moved all of that stuff into just the hard drive, not, users, me, my desktop, podcasting and video stuff, Fluxtaposed, and then there's all the stuff that we do on my hard drive. So I moved that all out, and then my audio player was like, oh, hey, I can't find this song file you want to play. Let me just play a different one for you. And so it was quite a surprise.
Let me just play whatever I want.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Yeah. Well, there you go, Lucas. Let's get caught up with
Yeah.
you. What's going on, man?
Well, it didn't
tell
take.
us what is on my shirt. What is this?
Tell us what's on your shirt. Pubes.
No, it's crispy, and it shouldn't
Pubes.
be crispy.
It's all pubes, all of it.
Mm.
I actually just was thinking that about my pants. Seriously. So, you know, it's been a while since we've had a Lucas Medical Minute, right?
Oh gosh.
So
I'll pretend I don't know it already, but
okay, that's fine.
what
So,
happened?
Well, what happened was I for probably about 2 weeks now, I've been experiencing this symptom. And the best I can describe it is chest pain that's happening right here. And it crawls up into my throat and it hurts really, really, really bad. So I called the doctor. It'd been going on. Like I'd wake up at like 5 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock in the morning almost every night. Same time, just about within a couple of hours or so, an hour or two. With this horrible pain, wakes me out of a sleep. Then it goes away after a couple minutes. I'm like, what the hell is this? What's going on? I've never felt this before. So finally, you know, a week and a half goes by and I call the doctor and I say, hey, just so you know, because it's been getting worse. It went from in the early morning to like 3 times a day.
Oof.
Yeah, and it would just stop. It was bad enough that I had to stop for a second and quit everything I was doing until it passed. So I called and I was like, this is what I'm experiencing. And the nurse said, well, let me talk to the doctor. And she was like, yeah, you should probably go get checked out at the ER. And I was like, are you serious?
Yeah, that's not supposed to happen.
They yeah. She's like, well, with your blood pressure and everything.
Did you double check on WebMD yet? Probably
yeah, it's cancer. I already know it's cancer. I don't need people to tell me. I don't need the internet to tell me it's cancer. So I go to the ER and they know me by name there practically, or at least it feels like they should, because it's the same one I went to 2 other times.
Yeah.
And so I get there and they run tests on me, hook me up to an EKG and do some X-rays and stuff, which I can't wait to pay for. Like that bill in the mail, I you know, that's going to be great. So, which is all I can think about the whole time.
Wait till they send the hot pink bill, because that means they really want you to pay it now.
Yeah, well, I feel like I don't see a bill, and then next thing I know, I'm getting calls from debt collectors. So that's usually how it goes for me. So, you know, I get there and I'm like, hey, I'm doing this because my doctor told me to. I'm fine right now. And so I go there and they check me over and they say, hey, all your blood work and everything, all your X-rays look good. Your heart looks normal. All the functions of your liver and kidneys and everything all look fine. So it's probably acid reflux, which is what I suspected. But because it was getting so bad, acid reflux can be mistaken for heart problems because they share a nerve cluster. So it's like generalized chest pain can sometimes feel like it's coming from a different spot. Like they even wanted to make sure it wasn't my gallbladder causing some weirdness, because it all just kind of sort of can be misleading. But she said everything was fine. So they gave me a pill for Prilosec, or a prescription for Prilosec. And so now I'm just like, oh, here's all the medications I take. I get to stand in my pharmacy for 3 hours.
One of the 1 week pill planners. So you have all your pills.
Pretty much.
Monday, Tuesday,
well, and then I'm taking like fish oil and some other supplements too. So it's like I got like a handful of pills to take in the morning. It's freaking ridiculous. It's like, what happened? I turned 30 and now all of a sudden I'm falling apart.
The wheels fell off.
I'm blaming the blood pressure medication. I never had this problem before in my entire life. So I think it just came on once they doubled my dosage and I started taking it more frequently. Like now I've taken it every day, but because of being sick and everything, the first time when they gave me the first dosage, I had skipped a few, because what's the point of taking a pill when you're going to puke it back up?
What's the point of taking a puke?
The day Aaron says the day I turned 30, I got heartburn. That's how you know when you're born. Because as soon as you turn 30, you have heartburn immediately. You're like, oh, I must have been born at 7:48 because I am currently experiencing terrible pain. Welcome to middle age. So
Maybe did it snow that day? Maybe you're gonna get throat burn when it's gonna snowstorm.
oh, that could be like that's my superpower. Like the
Hmm.
more I hurt, the worse the weather's gonna be.
Yeah,
Um,
precisely.
that's a horrible trade off. Uh, the other thing I did was I had a dentist appointment, and you're probably thinking, "Oh God, why is he talking about his dentist appointment on a podcast? That sounds boring." Well, let me tell you,
That's what we do here. We talk
that's
about the breaking news stories.
that's right. Uh, So it was a deep clean because I hadn't been visited the dentist in a while. I'm not ashamed to say that. I'll say it. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Nobody ever teaches you how to adult. Like nobody says, "Hey, you need to be making these appointments." Like my mom never sat down and said, "All right, when you go off and live with Jason, make sure you're still making your dentist appointments." Like nobody does that. And if you do, then that's good for you because
Make sure
nobody
to
else
clean up
will.
your chicken after your chicken nuggets, or Jason's gonna get really mad at you when you just
That's
leave
right.
that stuff in the kitchen.
That's right. And do a damn wash a dish every once in a while, you piece of garbage. She knew I wasn't going to do that. I didn't do it at home. So I had to get this deep clean thing done because it had been a while, and Danette had it done. And I asked her, like, is it going to hurt? Like, how bad is it? Because, you know, somebody poking around in your mouth never feels good. Well, most of the time.
That's a Michael story. I feel like.
Ew. This was really painful. This is horrible. I would liken it to getting a tattoo where it was just bad enough that like it was bad enough that it was an awful experience if you're not expecting it, but it was just tolerable enough that I didn't have to be like, "No, I can't do this. I'm going home and I'm going to cry." So,
Don't you like how like they're always like they'll have like they're pulling your cheek apart and prying at your gum, and they ask you, "Oh, does that feel okay?" And you're like, you can't talk, but they ask
yeah.
you questions. That's like,
I told that place lets me put they're like we don't care if you wear headphones or whatever because I'm like they're not going to be talking to me anyway, like you're saying, like why would you talk to me because my mouth is, but like the whole time even the expectation of pain, because once you get a zinger in your mouth you're just kind of like, oh, it's gonna hurt. So as she's like scraping my teeth, I'm just kind of like, oh, trying not to close my mouth, but it's so hard. She's like, can you open a little wider please? And I'm like, I'm trying to, but my body is rejecting everything you're doing to me. So,
I have a gum recession, which is
oh, that's bad. Yeah.
part hereditary, part from my braces, and part from because I used to clench my jaw in my sleep. That's why I have to wear a mouth guard at night, or a bite splint. Excuse me. So I have to occasionally get it checked up to make to measure how bad it's gone. And basically they take like a pick, and they're like prying at your gum to measure how deep.
Yeah,
it's just like
that's what I had
each
done.
one, it just like the shivers up your spine.
That's what I had done when I first was like, well, while I'm here, when I went just to be supportive for my wife, and then they were like, oh, we could get you in right now. That's what they did. They did the little they test your walls or whatever. Oh, it hurts. It's terrible.
I'll tell you what, I'm interested in my next cleaning because I'm due up probably in a couple, like maybe next month or so, or maybe it's not until it's got to be gotta be close. I've flossed like every day, like pretty well. Like Jess has been really good about it, and I'm usually not. I usually floss every once in a while, so I'm really interested to see. Like this time, I can say how
this
you
better
when you're
fucking
flossing.
work.
Like, yes, I have flossed every fucking day. So if they don't tell me, if I go there, they don't say, "Oh, your flossing looks good," and I'll be like, "It's all a lie. I've got you. I got him.
These gums have bled for you, and you're telling me I didn't do anything for that, or like it didn't help." It's bullshit.
Yeah, that's right. It's bullshit. It's all bullshit.
You don't even need your teeth cleaned, honestly. They just do it to make money, It's like every 6 months you got to come in and get your teeth cleaned. No, you don't. Nobody had their teeth cleaned in the 1500s, and look how they turned out. They lived to be a ripe old age of 35, and I didn't hear anyone complaining.
Gingivitis isn't a real thing. It's made up.
Exactly.
It's science.
The world is flat. 9/11 was an inside job.
Oh boy.
And dentists are liars. That's
and then when you bowl, you went over the line, and I had to mark it 0.
That's right. It's over the line. Mark it over the line. So lastly, the last thing that happened, this is a little delightful thing that just happened tonight, as a matter of fact. So Danette got home from work. This is a quick story. Danette got home from work.
Cody's in the title. Did he pee on something? What did he pee on? Tell me.
No, he didn't pee on anything, thank God. So Danette got home, and we're sitting down, and Isaac asked if he could have a cookie. And I said, well, you got to finish your dinner, which he did. So I gave him 2 cookies, and they're little Oreos. And he's walking around eating them. And Cody's sitting next to Danette, sort of, on the floor, because she's the most interesting thing happening right now, because she just got home. And I start telling her about something, and all of a sudden we see Isaac just like toss his arm up, and he threw a cookie directly like above Cody, so that all he had to do was look up and snatch it out of the air. And it was like they rehearsed that, because he threw that cookie so well right into Cody's mouth. And like, obviously it's a chocolate and cream cookie, so he shouldn't have it. Like, we try to make sure he at least doesn't eat the, chocolate and other stuff that's bad for dogs. But we couldn't help but laugh because it all happened so quickly, and it was just perfect. Like, just straight into the mouth. Just whoop. I'm like, well, guess that's that.
When my brother was having his baby, when his fiance was, delivering, they had to leave the dogs at home, and his beagle got, like, it was behind the couch where it got into ate an entire, like, one of those huge party bags of peanut M&Ms.
Oh
ate
my
the entire
God.
thing. So they had to take him to, like, the emergency vet and have his stomach emptied.
Well, he would have, even if he would have survived, he would have been puking so much, or she, or whatever. That dog. Ugh.
Yeah.
I mean, I can put a whole party bag of peanut M&Ms away, but I even puke a little bit towards the end.
The dog probably shouldn't, right?
Yeah, the dog probably shouldn't. At least I can hit the toilet with my puke. Dog just pukes anyway. So. Well,
I've given up on my dog. We don't trust him at all anymore. Now, if we're not in the living room, he's not allowed in there. We have a series. The baby gates that we don't use now are used to keep my dog off the carpet.
They're prison bars.
When we leave the house, he's not allowed in there. And then when we're in the back room eating dinner, he's not allowed in there because we just got it cleaned. And I'm like, I don't trust him. He's lost all privileges. So
they're not trustworthy. How do you
prevent the dog from peeing on the carpet? You don't let him on the carpet. That's how it goes. That's my
Dogs
dog.
aren't trustworthy, man. They'll get away with anything they feel like they can.
Yeah, pretty much. So, is that our IRL update?
I think that's IRL for this week.
Doggy. So, guys, girls, people on the internet,
dogs.
Lucas and I don't think you're quite as far as I yet, but we got caught up in a new little hotness on the internet. Not a porn site. So it's a series on Netflix. It's called Altered Carbon. Maybe you've heard of it. It's right up our alley. So I just wanted to give kind of a little brief overview, first impressions on the series. 10 episodes hit Netflix last week, Friday, based on the book of the same title published in 2002. I have to say, like, okay, first of all, I hate what happens with sort of things like this, because it's almost like when you're looking things up, it's almost impossible not to see a review. And I hate to see, if I'm going to watch anything, I hate to see like a negative review, like just impact my outlook, just to give me a preconceived like idea of it all. And at first, like Rotten Tomatoes, I think this, not to say that Rotten Tomatoes is the be all end all of anything, but it had like a 91. Like on Rotten Tomatoes, like, whoa. Oh wow! Now since then, it's been reduced down to like a 60. But just kind of like the same thing that happened with Bright, I would say. So I think that's unfortunate, but I couldn't disagree more with the critics on this. So I knew right from I knew nothing about this until like the week before. Nathan, friend of the show, had shared it in Discord and shared the trailer. And I was like, holy crap, this looks awesome, because it's like everything that we like. It's like, it looks like Shadowrun. It looks like Blade Runner. It has that aesthetic and style that we love in our future. And it is a noir bit in the story. So it's detective, the neo-noir, that dystopian future. it checks all those boxes. So that's one thing that's immediately kind of gets your attention. What I really want to say about this though is I feel like what I really enjoyed the most about it is the initial story setup, because I feel like this is something unique that I've never came across in any other media. So just to explain that, this is set and it doesn't give us. I don't think it's ever like said what the actual year is. I don't think, but it's set in what used to be considered San Francisco. Now they just refer to it as Bay City. And technology has basically been developed at I believe at the age of 2. I don't remember. Humans are implanted with this. They call it's a device, but essentially your entire consciousness can be copied onto this, and it sits like in between your vertebrae and your neck, and they refer to it as a stack. But your entire consciousness can be downloaded onto this and stored indefinitely. So your body is merely a body. So upon your death, if if the stack isn't damaged, it can be removed, and you can be what they refer to as spun up into another body, which they refer to as sleeves.
Yeah. And
depending on your social status, you can actually, you might receive something good. Otherwise, like if you see early on, you like one of the immediate scenes, you see a little girl that's been spun up into the body of like a 60-year-old. So unfortunately, if you're just relying on what government assistance gives you, you have no control of what you're going to get.
Just like real life.
Just like real life. So I think that's such a cool concept, because I don't know any other sci-fi storyline that's ever had something like this, where, humans have developed a way to essentially live forever. Your body is merely just a body. It's nothing, which kind of changes some of the direction where they take with the show. But I mean, I've never came across that. I thought that was such a unique element that this show has that I've never come across anything else.
Yeah,
I think that's a really cool hook and a really cool concept to play around with, because then it really helps you explore the idea of they can kind of look at morality and then more things of that nature. And of course, there's certain religious groups that don't believe in that, and when the body is dead, the soul is gone, so they won't be spun up. So there's that side of things too. But I think that's just a really cool thing to see play out, and that's a cool story hook that they can use to move things with.
Well, and I think it's funny that we're watching this on the heels of Bright, really, because I feel like they did a lot better. Obviously, it's a little bit different because this is a TV show with multiple episodes as opposed to a movie, but I feel like their world building here was done a lot better than Bright.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they don't even tell you everything, but you definitely can glean some information based on some of the amount of time that some people are talking about, like how long he's spent. The main character was in prior to the show, he was in stasis. Yeah, that's not really a big. I mean, you learned that episode 1. So
yeah,
the amount of time that he was there leads me to believe it's got to be at least like 300 years into the future from now. So if not more.
How many episodes have you watched so far?
2.
2? Okay.
Yeah.
I just finished number 5 today, and that had there's some cool twists along the way. So I'm really looking forward to what you see. I like the direction they're taking it. I like where they've gone with the story. Our main character is tasked with basically finding a killer of a very rich socialite, which is ironic because typically in murder cases in this future, if someone's murdered, they just spin them back up, and you can testify in your own murder trial, and you can give your own testimony of who shot you, because you witnessed it. You're the witness to your murder. If your stack wasn't damaged, you're not dead, and you can just be, reanimated in a sleeve and then carry on. So it's such an interesting idea. I like all the casting. I love Joel Kinnaman from The Killing. That's what I'm most familiar with him. You might remember him from RoboCop.
Oh yeah, that what? He seemed a little bit more.
Maybe Run All Night. He's in that too.
Was he in Suicide Squad? Wasn't he the?
Yeah.
That's what
Is it Randall Flagg? Is that his name?
Yeah,
I know it sounds just like the Stephen King character.
I think it was the exact same. And I didn't like him in that at all, but he does a much better job here.
What does he have to work with in Suicide Squad?
That's true. That's true. So, yeah. Excuse me. So
Interesting
far,
enough,
everything has been pretty good.
one of his other co-stars was also in The Killing. Small disclaimer of the for this show, if you're interested in it, and because not everyone might be comfortable with it, there is
Ah,
like an obscene amount of nudity in this series. Like I think pretty much boobs, like
the
a
future is
lot.
boobs. That's what we said.
That's what
That's
we
the
did talk
name of
about.
this episode. Is the
The
future is
future is
boobs.
boobs because there's a lot. I
Even
mean,
when they're covered, you can still see them half the time.
yeah. I mean, I read a review about it, and I did mention that like the whole thing was why is there so much nudity in Altered Carbon, and a lot of it has to do with the um that side of the story, how the whole idea of the human body doesn't carry as much value, or not to say value, but isn't as
It's easier to not to feel like it's you when you're
yes,
what your
exactly.
brain as opposed to the shell that you inhabit. The
Now,
sleeve.
Aaron, you're putting words in my mouth. I never said it was bad. I'm just saying some people may not be comfortable with it.
Well, if I'm to understand, you watched the majority of this at work, didn't you?
I watched 2 episodes on my lunch breaks at work.
That's
And
not the
yeah,
majority anymore then, yeah.
there's a
But
couple
still,
times where I'm like,
I hope nobody walks
where's
in
my
here.
NSFW button?
Oh
You know?
God. I think Leisure Suit Larry 7 had that where you would press a button and it would look like you're doing a spreadsheet on MS DOS or something.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure it did. One of
Panic
those
button.
games did. I trying to think of like I would say the whole presentation and like the visual nature of the show, fantastic, especially for being a Netflix original. I think it visually looks great. I think it's shot well. I think it has a great style to it. I can't think of much like I'm thinking of like what we talk about in Netflixation, going back to like the score. Nothing like there kind of like super
It's
stands
not
out for
as
me.
much
Yeah,
like
but
Blade Runner where you're just like
yeah.
it's really present. I feel like it
Mhm.
was good. It just didn't stand
Yeah.
out to me. Did you say the cinematography already?
I mentioned it a little briefly,
I
but
was I
yeah,
was kind of surprised at how cinematic it felt. They do a lot of um, they take their time, I guess, setting up a scene before just moving directly into action. And there is some action in this show,
yeah,
and
there is.
but they actually take the time to give you little snippets of things where you hear somebody thinking, or like when he's in the water, and you hear like little background information or some memories or something. And I think it helps because the sets look amazing. Like
Yeah, yeah.
the Raven that he stays in, again, not really a spoiler, but there's a hotel he stays in. That place looks amazing. Um,
They
it's just
have
really cool.
they have Eames loungers in the lobby, so it gets a thumbs up for me.
Eames loungers, what are those?
Yeah, my chair in my living room. Come on, the Eames chair. It's like a
Mm.
Herman Miller
The one that you
iconic.
sit down and you can't not recline in because that's just how
That's
it
right.
goes.
That's right.
Well, good, good. I like that chair.
I like the. I think I just have to mention it because again, in this setting, much like Blade Runner, much like Shadowrun, it's always raining. It's always raining in the future. And I
Well,
was like,
yeah.
Lucas, why is it always raining, Lucas?
And I said, well, it's because of the pollution. The water isn't allowed to escape the atmosphere, so it just hangs in the air and then turns back into rain again.
I think
And
that's a
I was
viable
I was
explanation.
completely bullshitting you. I was like, I don't know.
It sounds legitimate. I don't know.
Well, maybe they just like the rain and they just have the weather set to rain at all times.
Everyone has clear umbrellas too.
Oh, that's the
Um,
most techie looking.
I would say what they haven't done as much, like Blade Runner. I don't get as much of a sense as of the surrounding city being alive so much because much of the extras, those characters are merely backdrop. You know, there's not much interaction. Like what we saw in Blade, you know, in Blade Runner 2049, for example, was the interaction with some of the crowds and how he gets involved with the ladies of the night, shall we see? Like those were some look like those were characters that look like just going to be set pieces, but did come up and have some prominence in the film. And I haven't seen too much of that yet. There are. I want to talk about some other things, Lucas, but I don't. I don't want to. I don't want to spoil people in the chat, and I don't know what you've seen and what you haven't seen, so I don't want to ruin that for you.
I don't feel like I've seen enough. If I was at episode 5, then yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So based on your 2 viewings, do you have a positive overall feeling of this? Would you be able to like sufficiently recommend this to other people?
Yeah, for sure. It has that that detective-esque story that you see in well, like you were saying, like you see in a lot of these futuristic settings and everything. But I feel like it's done better here just because the main character could be really annoying because he comes off as not really giving a shit about anything, and that's a really like sometimes that comes off as a character that a 14-year-old would think is cool. Like, I'm so haunted by everything. I don't give a shit about anything. Like, adult me is just like, come on, dude. Really? Like, that's how you're going to act to everybody? But he does it a little bit better here, so I can appreciate that. That would have been my one turnoff. But as a whole, so far, there hasn't been too much cheese. It's pretty to look at. I watched it, like the first episode, I wasn't planning on watching the whole thing, but I ended up watching all of it in one sitting, just because I tend to start these too late. I'm just like, oh, it's 10:30 and I wanted to watch this. I shouldn't, but I know I shouldn't, but I'm going to anyways. So the second episode I ended up having to split in 2. And I came back and watched it. Like, I still ended up... I've done that with other shows like Iron Fist, where I'm like, oh, I'll come back and watch this, and then I never do. Barely got through the first episode. So, there's definitely something here. I can't say that I've seen enough of it to go as far as to say, like, the whole series is great or anything, obviously. But for right now, without knowing what the payoff's going to be at the end of the season or anything, I think it's cool. You know, it might overstay its welcome, but I don't think so. I doubt it. I mean, detective stories tend not to anyway, because you want to know, you know, like there's already that innate mystery about it. But I think they did a good job with the pacing here. You know, a lot of shows could have easily dealt with his backstory and then dealt with the world, and then next thing you know, you're not getting into like the actual investigation until episode 3 or something.
Right.
But here it's like they give you a question and then they answer it, and then it continues down the line, like who woke him up? Why did they wake him up? What's he going to do next? What decision is he going to make? Like that type of... So it always has something that was pulling me to continue watching, which was nice. So overall, I would suggest that
I managed to click on a clickbaity article from GameSpot, which is the biggest differences between the series and the book. I do think I'm going to go back and read the book at some point. One of the comments, there's only 2. Managed to watch 7 episodes. Meh, show sucks. Acting of that female detective just killing everything good about it. She is really bad at acting. Okay. I disagree, but I don't think she's terrible.
I don't think she's terrible.
I don't think she's amazing, but yeah, you gotta love the internet. For myself, I'm gonna say I would recommend it if you're a fan of any of these type of genres or anything like that. I don't know, but it's hard because I'm incredibly biased. This is like, even if this probably wasn't good, I would still like it because it's the setting, it's the story. I mean, those are like why I like, let's face it, Dead Man Switch in Shadowrun wasn't the greatest story, but I don't know. This reminds me so much of it. It was like that whole detective thing. This person died. What happened? And you have to unravel the pieces, and then you discover so much more along the way. And it's just like that same thing is why I'm hooked. And not so even much like at this point where I'm at. The detective story is just the backdrop. There's so much that else that gets unraveled along the way, and that's the stuff I'm interested to find out about now. And
Jason,
we're having a great discussion in chat.
Why
about
are
this
you
right
covering
now.
up the fact that it's just because there's boobs in it, and that's why you keep watching? Also, I do want to say there was a gigantic man dong in the second episode. Or maybe it's just big compared to my own, but it seemed large.
That's why I watched Westworld, the man dong.
That's true. That's another episode, or that's another series I need to go back and continue. But yeah, so that was equally represented, the mandong and the boobs. So that was
Boobs.
nice. It was the kind of mandong reveal that you got from The Watchmen. And you're like, oh, there's just blue dong all of a sudden. Cool.
Just blue dong everywhere. So there you go. Altered Carbon. It's got boobs and dong. We give us our
sci-fis. There's sciences, there's fictions, and it's good.
And it's good.
It's good.
It's good. So they're positive from both of us. I think that's a good. I think that's about as far deep as we can go without heading into spoiler territory. So we'll leave that as it may. Lucas,
I feel like I feel like we went really deep, honestly.
Really deep. We'll leave it that comment there. Shall we take an overclocked remix break before we continue the podcast?
Sure. Let me spin up the hyperdrives or something. Let me spin up your stack.
Ooh. I hope it's Link Between Worlds.
7, 8, 9, 10. It's actually Mirror's Edge. Number 11. Far away.
That's disappointing.
I'm sorry. What did you want it to be?
Link Between Worlds. Just because I like Zelda.
I don't even see
Mirror's Edge is good though. Well, we'll discuss that later. Yes. So,
okay.
As always, we like to feature a selection from Overclock Remix, a great website that we enjoy. Aaron, thanks for stopping by, man. I appreciate you. Even though you're 5 hours ahead of us, you always manage to stop in the chat. So, burning the midnight oil, my friend. Have a good sleep. Anywho, Mirror's Edge, Far Away. This is our remix is by well, gosh, I can't even pronounce it. Help me. Synesthetics?
Synesthetic. Oh, God.
Synesthetics?
There's too many things going on. Synesthesics.
That might be it. Mirror's Edge, of course, released in 2008 by EA Games on multiple platforms. Here in the database, it's only noted as PS3. This is the song "Still Alive" from the game. This remix is called "Far Away." And yeah, we're going to play this remix. As always, you can find this remix and many more at ocremix.org. Quick reminder, we are going to eventually having Daniel Lloyd from the founder himself of OC Remix on the podcast. So still working out some scheduling details. They've got a new album that they're working on getting out into the wild. So that's delaying things a little bit. And we've got enough on our plates too. So look forward to that. We're going to play this remix. We'll come back and do some bunch of playing. So stick around for that. Lucas, are you ready, sir?
I'm trying to, but give me one second.
Do you need me to delay?
I'm good.
Oh, look at that. Power downloading. Thank you, Comcast Internet.
Actually, I was just putting in the information for this.
Oh, even better.
So.
All right. So we're going to play the remix. We'll be back for more Fluxtaposed. See you soon.
Wow, sorry guys. Apparently I had that muted, so you only get a little bit of the song.
I feel sleepy from that OC remix. It was just all chillaxing and setting
Yeah.
the mood, you know, just putting the vibe out there.
Oh my god, for sure, brah.
Well, let's bring the energy a little back up a little more, and I can't think of a better way to do that than a little what you plan.
Ooh, that was a little Streets of
What?
Rage for you.
Oh, the original or number two?
Looks like the original.
Wow.
If the
God.
if it's to be any indication.
You know, I think we should do some Fluxtaposed stream of some gameplay of probably some like Streets of Rage 2, because that's the best one.
All I remember from Streets of Rage 2 is Oria, because that's the noise the guy makes every time you throw something.
Excellent.
Or no, he does his like uppercut thing. Yeah, Oria, Oria.
That, and I really just want to play some Toe Jam and Earl again.
Ooh, Toe Jam and Earl. That would be good with two players. I only ever played it single player. And
Oh, you gotta
Earl
play that
was-
2-player.
Earl was always, fucking off in the bushes or whatever.
Wake him up!
Wake up!
Funny anecdote. You might have seen him on Twitter. Trash Turkey. he gets his name from Streets of Rage, because you get the random turkey that comes out of the trash can that you eat in those type of games. You know,
that's right.
So I thought I like that. I like that little name.
Wall turkey is always good too, like from Castlevania.
How about a wall breaker?
Hey, chicken, how's it hanging? Nobody has referenced that in forever.
No. All right, let's talk some what you play now.
Okay.
Lucas, you finished a game. You finished a rather big game this past week.
I did. It feels so far away. Because, like I said, I was mainlining it, and I had fun with it. The only thing I had to do up to that point was do the final boss. Honestly,
people don't even know what game you're talking about yet, though.
Oh, sorry. Final Fantasy VII, of course, is what I've been mainlining. And sorry, I was thinking about what I was going to say, because I was thinking all of this like Wednesday or Thursday. I think I beat it, so pretty much after the podcast. And I don't remember anything from the third disc. I remember somewhat of the second disc, but I just realized how much like front loading I remember, like how much of the first disc I remember. And that first disc feels very long compared to the last two. And I think it's probably because there's way more FMVs that are being
all the cinematic files and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So, because once you get further in the story, there's definitely a lot more of them playing. And that brings me to my next point, which as I was fighting the last boss, Sephiroth, or getting to him, I was telling you I didn't realize that there's like 3 forms, and you have to go through this entire bullshit to get to him, and there's no save points, Jason. And so you go down into this cave, you make your way to where he is at in this where the weapon used to be, basically the crater that's left over from that, and you get in a fight with 3 of his forms. And the whole time I had been playing for probably 2 hours, and I got to that point about an hour in, and I'm like, I need to save my game, because I went and did like, I got some limit breaks and stuff, which I didn't even need to do because I couldn't use them anyway. And but long story short, I finally got there, but there's no, like you were saying, you thought there was a save point before the boss battle, but I didn't have that. I
remember like right at the edge before you jump down to fight Genova, there was a save point. Because I remember I would always load it up and I would kill all the bosses so I could watch the ending again.
Well, you in the version that I played, and I don't know if this is the case in the original, you do pick up a save point that is an item that you can use, and it drops the save point. But in the walkthrough I read, it said it can ruin your save game. So by saving there, you can use it to rest and it won't be a problem. But if you use it to save, it can be. So I didn't want to use it because I didn't know if it was referring to the PlayStation 1 and that's been fixed since then or what. Mm-hmm. But I could not have my entire game fried. So I got, 45 minutes in, and then I start the boss battle. Now, the first 2 forms were fine. That was easy. And they're nonstop. You don't stop in between to heal or anything, so that's kind of a problem. Now, I will say what is a problem about this boss battle, though, Jason, and I'm going to play it right here, is Sephiroth's Supernova. Holy shit. I had to watch this thing 5 times. This is a 2-minute long video. I'm playing it for the visual people here. You have to watch this. This is an attack he does, and it takes 2 minutes to play.
I remember it.
I mean, the 4th time it played, I went upstairs and got a drink of water and came back downstairs, and it was still playing. This for the audio listeners, this thing is so ridiculous. It's basically Sephiroth commands a comet from beyond the galaxy to come through. It's so ridiculous to think of now. But like 12-year-old me thought this was cool. It smashes into Pluto. It totally obliterates Saturn. I mean, this thing is destroying every single planet on the way to get to you to kill you. Jupiter's interesting because, of course, it's a gas giant, so of course it makes a hole in the middle. It doesn't nothing to destroy, but it explodes anyway. But I mean, like, nowadays, you would watch this and you would be like, "Is this parody? Like, is this supposed to be a joke? This is so ridiculously overkill." So this comet explodes into the sun, and it causes it to engulf the rest of the planets, which I find this interesting because that means this takes place on Earth.
Bob.
I find
the
it.
Power Man 2000 song?
Oh God, yes. So it takes place on Earth, which is weird. Like, this is our solar system, but clearly it's not our, like, the way our
world.
timeline. Yeah. So this giant, you know, superheated ball of death engulfs a badass looking. I mean, honestly, he looks pretty damn cool. Plus his shirt's off, sexy. Getting the ladies on that one. And then it engulfs your people. You have to watch this 5 times. This isn't like, oh, you killed him and he does this one time. Oh, it's just the worst. So that's 10 minutes of that's 10 minutes of watching that alone. Now, this battle was particularly difficult because Byakuaz, I spent half of the time trying to make sure that I didn't die. Because,
yeah.
And by that I mean I spent most of my time healing. Like, I didn't think I was going to win this battle. I thought for sure. There were 2 times I put the controller down going, because this would play and I'd be like, yep, dead. Because one of my characters would be a frog. Another person would be dead already or confused. And so he's just like killing himself. I don't know. It was messed up. But needless to say, I did pull out a victory against all odds, against being turned into a frog 3,000 times, or his freaking pale horse maneuver, which gives you like 800 negative status effects. That's what turns you into the frog, or silences you, or confuses you. This fight sucked balls.
I was curious, like, what the difficulty was like this, because obviously I had easy mode. I had Knights of the Round, and it just obliterates everything. I think you have to just do that like a couple times, and he's dead. But so I never had a legit experience against him.
Well, I would say that it probably would have been easier if I had Knights of the Round and all that stuff, but I didn't have the best I had was 2 times cut, and it was still 2 times. And I used behemoths, like all the behemoths, quite a bit. And I barely squeaked out a victory. So that's pretty much all I can say helped me on that. And curing people, obviously.
I forgot, because I had all the summons mastered. So by doing that, you get the master summon materia, which gives you another. It gives you like, how does it work? So by doing that, you get the master summon.
Oh, sorry. It doesn't it allow you to? No, what those masters do is it allows you to use any of the materia under that color, but it only takes 1 space in your.
I believe that's the case. And when you mastered a summon, you would get a duplicate of it.
Oh, it would give you.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure because I mastered them all, you get the master summon materia, which is like 1 materia slot, and it was one, and you can give it to 1 character, and they have access to every single a master version of every single summon. So it was
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, didn't you get all your characters to 99 and all that other stuff too? I was like level 50.
I purposefully grinded in the Gelnika for way too long and maxed out every character. I had all the ultimate weapons. It was just, and I did that all before I finished the game the first time. That was like that's how much I was into this game. I wanted it.
I never wanted to end.
Basically.
Yeah, I didn't have time for that shit, so I just went straight for Sephiroth. And what really sucks, though, here's what sucks. So I wasn't able to save, and I see the end. I see the end of what happens, and you know this is an old game, so I'm going to spoil it right now. So for anybody who doesn't want Final Fantasy VII spoiled for them, in the end, it's kind of questionable as to whether what you did even worked. The the meteor or the comet is still, I guess meteor is coming down, crashing into Midgar, and the life of the planet kind of envelopes the entire planet. But it was always a question during the story as to whether or not the planet would deem humanity good enough to survive the calamity, I guess. So it was always possible that even if the planet survives all of this, that doesn't mean humanity was allowed to continue. And they still leave that a question at the end of the game. Like, you don't know if it worked or not. So I thought that was a pretty good ending, just because I kind of like it ambiguous, because sometimes I don't like that. But in this one in particular, with the heavy themes and everything, I thought it was a good way of ending it. So,
well, then they released Advent Children, and it worked because your characters are still alive.
Yeah, that's true. But if you only go out from Final Fantasy VII. But here was the bad part. So anytime my controller disconnected from my computer, the game would crash. It's really great. God. I don't know why that would happen, but it wouldn't happen very often.
So your controller would randomly disconnect during gameplay, or
if my batteries died, because I buy the cheap ass batteries they sell at Aldi, so I'm going through tons of those. But in this instance, I sat the controller down and was just watching the credits while I did something on my other screen, and my controller automatically turned off because I wasn't using it. And so I never got to save before the end of the game. So now I can't go back and do any of the other weapon, like the super boss fights or anything like that. Which is fine, because I don't really have that. I don't have time to do it anyway. I needed to move on to other stuff. But it was just like, are you serious? But I have the Steam achievement for completing the game. So at least I have proof that I did actually beat it. So
you did it, man.
I did it. That's Final Fantasy VII. And I will say that it kind of made me want to play Final Fantasy 8 and 9. So
oh man,
I'm not going to buy them until they go on sale or anything. But yeah, and keep this train rolling. I play more old games from my childhood lately than I do new games. What the hell's going on? Well,
new games require money typically, so that's always
true.
It's always part of it.
Cuphead. Been playing a bit of Cuphead. I think I'm probably closer to where you were when you last talked about 47%. 50%.
You might be ahead of me. I am on World 2.
Yeah.
Did I beat the boss on the roller coaster? Yes, I beat him, but I'm at one of the I'm at the run and gun stage right near there.
Okay.
And I gave up on that because I got kind of frustrated with the gravity.
Is it the one that oh yeah, that's the one I haven't beat yet. I did the other one with like the trampoline and everything. That one.
I don't know if I've done that one yet.
Okay, there's 2 run and guns in there. All of them took me quite a bit of time to go through. So
it's tough because you can put 45 minutes into that game and maybe get through one boss.
Yeah, it's true, especially when you get into the newer ones. I find if I leave and come back to one that I've already played, I'm more likely to beat it the second time, like in the second playthrough, which is the case with that damn woman in her castle, and she sends out little
that one was
candy
a pain.
Things. Just because the
pattern of her head at the very end was really difficult.
Oh, that was the worst. And the pattern of who's coming out, it was always like, please don't let it be that damn jawbreaker thing that follows you around. I hated that one. So here's the thing that I found that really helped me. This actually improved my play. I changed the controls because the triggers don't get used at all in that game. And what I found was the controls to keep you in place when you shoot, I switched to the left trigger.
Ah, so are you using the triggers for both the shooting functions then?
No, I'm using it for the stay in one place to shoot.
Yeah.
And then the other one I changed to dodge. Because I found it too difficult to there's just too much time between taking my finger off the shooty button and putting it on the dodge button. Like, I need quicker access than that because my brain has to go, okay, I need to stop shooting and start dodging at this particular moment. Whereas here I can continue shooting and just be like, I need to dodge, and then clench my finger. I don't know why. It works for me better, but that might not work.
I wonder if I would do the placement on the left trigger and then shooting on the right trigger.
Yeah.
To kind of mimic shooter controls a little bit.
Yeah, that could probably, I mean, that's the thing too, is like you could probably do that with the shooting control, but having dodge and shooting on the
Yeah.
face buttons both,
I think being
just
able to
I don't like
jump
it.
and shoot at the same time without having to try to move your finger would probably be an ideal configuration.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, I'm enjoying it now because I feel like that's helped me out a lot. I've unlocked a few more weapons and I don't know, just I'm having a fun time with it. But it's one of those games I have to be in the mood to play though, because
Hmm.
sometimes I'm just like I cannot, like you said, waste 45 minutes on one
Yeah.
boss.
And you
So
got to just be mentally prepared for it. I mean, it's a tough game.
yeah, it is tough, and if anything's gonna induce you to break your controller, it would be that one.
Right.
Lastly, still going in The Witcher 3. I've been playing a little bit more of it now that Final Fantasy's done, and I'm in it now. I'm enjoying it quite a bit.
To win it?
I'm in it to win it. Yes, I am. I'm not using a walkthrough on this one, but I am. This is my main game now, and there are just some stories in this that are so well written, and like I don't even want to relate them, but just know that they're written very well. The people are so believable. The lore in the game is so otherworldly. Like there's monsters and stuff, and they pull from some of the first two games too, obviously, but there's just so much stuff in this game that is just freaking cool. Like um one thing that really surprised me, and it's a slight spoiler for anybody who's not played Witcher 3 or is currently playing it, but so keep that in mind. But there's a mission, a set of missions that you help out this guy named the Bloody Baron, and his wife and daughter have left him. He's very upset about it, but he's kind of an asshole, so it's kind of his fault, you find out too. But he still doesn't know why they left him. And so throughout the course of adventuring and following this quest line, you find out that they left because he was abusive and he was a drunk. And you go back and you basically tell him to face the music and tell me what's really going on. And he says, well, I suspected they left because that night I got super drunk and basically caused his husband or his wife to miscarriage.
Mm.
And so when they left, his wife left the unborn child or the stillborn child in her bedroom, took her living daughter and they fled. So he was left to bury his child whom he killed, basically, and he tried to hide it, and he never gave it a name or anything. And in the Witcher lore, this causes it to turn into a monster. If you bury a baby that has died that has not been given a name and you bury it off the site of your home, it causes it to turn into what's called a botchling. Doesn't that sound great? A botchling? It's like a botched up job. It just sounds horrible.
Yeah, right?
So during you see this cutscene and it's this purple, bloated, nasty, like monster baby. Think of like things from Dead Space 2, or you can just look it up,
Oh, yeah.
botchling. And it's got like rows of fangs and it's effed up, man. And I saw that. I'm just like, what am I watching? And so just playing it, like what game has these things called botchlings that deal with freaking
Do they have
murdering your
botulism?
child? They do. It looks like they do. They're all purple and their umbilical cords are still connected and stuff. But yeah, I was just like, what game has like botchlings as an enemy? But I chose the peaceful route. I made him bury the child at his threshold of his home, and he had to give it a name, and it would turn into a guardian spirit and help his family. Instead of killing it, the other option was killing it and getting its blood. So I did the good thing. I did the nice thing, and but yeah, there's a lot of things. There's witches in this game, and they look crazy as hell. They don't look like any witches that you've seen before. They're portrayed in a painting as being very beautiful, but then you meet them in real life, and they're not just ugly. They're like effed up. So stuff like that. It's just like the game looks really good, and they've spent a lot of time on the models and everything. It really helps to sell the entire world, The gameplay is on point. I'm just really enjoying it. So it's nice to play a game that's more centered toward the adult fantasy world as opposed to something that would be a little bit lighter, so that it can do some of the more relatable things like that we see in our real world, but you know, these characters are dealing with them and it leads to monsters and stuff. I don't know, it's just really cool. It's definitely the best out of the three. It's the best game out of Witcher 1 and 2 by far. I feel like I read an article.
I've got no leg to stand on. I've never played one still.
Yeah, I don't know if you would like it. It's tough because it's open world, but it gives you more guidance than like Fallout. Like I feel like in Fallout and Skyrim, you kind of have to find the quests. Whereas here they do a little bit better job of giving you stuff to do because you can find them on notice boards and stuff. And they actually show you where the notice boards are. And there's a lot of stuff on the map that tells you where to go. A lot of stuff on the map, like so much stuff. It's a little overwhelming, but you can kind of choose some of the side quests that you want to do and some of the side activities. It's not like a huge deal if you don't do it. So I'm really enjoying it. Yeah. So I'm going to spend more time in that world for sure. And that's the end. We already talked about Altered Carbon. So for sure.
We did.
So
gaming.
Sure.
Hardcore, right, sweet,
hardcore gaming over here. Sorry, just too busy playing my video games.
You've been tearing it up, my friend.
That's right.
Tearing it up. Well, on my side of things, after our show, I bought Celeste for the Nintendo Switch, a hardcore platformer, much in the vein of Super Meat Boy and the like. And it's a fantastic game. It controls well. It's just really fun. But devilishly hard at some points too. You play the main character of Madeline, who is trying to climb Mount Celeste for reasons you discover as you play the game. Mm-hmm. Deals with some other subject matter that you wouldn't expect, mainly like anxiety and depression a little bit, and with how Madeline experiences things, which is really cool. And it's a really good game. I mean, it's hard, but it's just really fun to play as her. And you have the ability to jump. You have a dash either in the air or on the ground, which only can be once. So if you dash in the air, you have to touch ground again before you're able to dash again. And then she can climb walls, but she has a stamina mechanic, so she only can climb for so long. And it's just really cool. You have to progress through the level. There's strawberries that you can collect for no other reason than bragging rights. There's a cassette tape, which is called the B-side, that you can find, which unlocks a second level. And then there's a heart. And those are hidden. Those and the B-sides are hidden throughout the level. So I've only found like 2 of those, and I've got most of the B-sides, but then you can actually go through and play the B-sides. There's like an alternate version of the levels. It has like a remix version of the soundtrack for that level. And they are hard as balls. Like some of the most challenging platforming I've done is getting through these things. Mm-hmm. And luckily with Celeste, when you die, you like instantly like load right back in the level. Like the downtime is very minimal. And the game keeps track of how many times you've died, and it's a lot.
Sometimes you don't want to know.
No, so I've gotten through the entire story. I've completed that. There is a extra level that you unlocked after you beat the game, but I don't have the required achievement yet to access it. So I'm probably gonna I might have to get a walkthrough to try to find some of the extras, because it's tough, man. The exploration's tough to find all the hidden things in there, but it's a rewarding game. I mean, you definitely get some mastery of the controls, and it definitely it pays off the better you get. So I really enjoy it. It's $20 on the eShop. I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember all what platforms it's available for, but I definitely would recommend it. And as a palate cleanser, after getting through Celeste, I jumped into Night in the Woods, which also released on the Nintendo Switch just this past week. Kind of a weird, it's like an adventure game, very story driven, but not so much game, but like it reminds me a little bit of like Kentucky Route Zero, where you're controlling it, but you're just experiencing the story as you go. I mean, there are some gaming elements there, but really cool games. Got this really cool art style. It's like a darker adult Animal Crossing in a way. You've got all these weird, unique characters that are dealing with, like you're the main character, May, who's coming back to her hometown after like dropping out of college and kind of dealing with life at that point. I think there's a supernatural aspect of the game that I haven't experienced yet, but this has been long out on other platforms. Just now hit the Switch. Really cool so far. Plus, I mean, there's like a little mini game where you can play bass guitar, a la Guitar Hero. So anything game where I can play bass, that's great, because usually, you know, bass guitar is always overshadowed by regular guitar. And being a bass player, it's always cool to see. So I've had fun with that, toyed around with it. I've probably only got maybe an hour and a half into it so far, so I can't really say too much about it, but it's really fun. I really enjoyed the humor and the writing. It's got really cool music too. And then the last thing is the show. It's a limited series on TBS or TNT, I think. It's called The Alienist. Set in 1890s New York, I believe. So an alienist at that time is referred, like when someone was said to be out of their mind. They were told to be like alien from their mind or their body or whatever. So an alienist was a person that like studied that. So basically like a psychiatrist at that time was called an alienist. Has Daniel Bruhl is the main character. You might know from he played the bad guy Baron Nemo in Civil War. Was in Glorious Bastards. And then I can't think of his name, but he played Gaston in Beauty and the Beast, the live action version of that. Okay. And what's her name? The child actor, female, was in. Oh gosh, why can't I think of her name? I gotta look it up because it's gonna bother me that I can't. Dakota Fanning is in it as well, so it's interesting because I haven't seen her in too many adult roles. So it's period piece, very interesting. So there's like there's gruesome murders that are happening around the city, and
Ellie Fanning, I'm being told.
Ellie. Our main character is investigating those along with the other two characters. So it's interesting. I've only watched 2 episodes so far. It's really good. Like my wife and I really like it, and like I knew Jess like just because the setting, you know.
What is it called again? I'm sorry.
The Alienist. It's on TNT. Yes. Luke Evans was the character I can think of. He's an illustrator for like one of the newspapers. So, and I think he's kind of friends with Daniel Bruhl's character, Laszlo Chrysler, who's a doctor. And then Dakota Fanning's character is the secretary for the commissioner of the police. So that's like their inside connection with the whole police side of things. So it's really cool. I mean, I don't know too much about it right now. The second episode ended on a cliffhanger with one of our characters in an insightful situation. So it's really interesting, really cool. Like the murders so far have been of like children too. So I mean, and what you would refer to as like a street urchin, So the lower caste, the part of the society that nobody cares about, So it's really cool. I just like the setting that you don't see something like that too often, and it looks really nice. I mean, it's tough with something like that because it's always like dark and gritty looking. It looks like I'm watching the Zack Snyder movie, but that's truth to the period. So it's good. I can't really say if I'd recommend it or not at this point because we're not too far into it, but that's all I've got, man. Just a few light things,
Cool.
Brawlout's got a patch coming tomorrow night, so looking forward to checking that out once it hits. And beyond that, that's all I got. But I do want to say I have to give a moment. Let's have a moment of silence for a dear game of mine. Gigantic was announced recently that it's no more. It's going to end. Motiga is all but closed down. The game's going to end, and I feel it's sad because I feel like it's a game that never really got off the ground, much like Hawken, they were in beta for seemed like forever. And then just I don't think ever got traction. And unfortunately with Gigantic, I was in one of the alphas and I just never played it. I played it in some of the earlier forums and it never grabbed me, which is unfortunate because I remember as soon as that was announced, I loved the art style, the cell shaded look, the concept was cool, but I think it failed to really grab its audience, much like Hawken, and it's just too bad. I think a game had a lot of potential, but just never never got off the ground. So goodbye, my friend.
Rest in
Good night,
peace.
good night, sweet prince. You know. Yeah. Beyond that, that's gonna conclude our what you playing section. Reminder, everybody. Episode 200. It's coming. Make sure you send those audio logs to us. We're gonna want them. You're gonna. I got a fever. The only prescription.
Oh
is more
boy.
audio.
Wow.
You know? Wow. And we don't have a grab bag tonight. I'm sorry. Dan, I even hit up Dan Anthony personally. I said, Dan, where's your news update? I need your wacky news stories. You must not got the memo. And everyone else was just like, yeah, you know, Fluxtaposed. They'll do all right without me this week. And we did. We did. Barely made it. We barely made it. But as always, I do want to point out, if you guys do like what we do here, want to help us do greater things, you can check out patreon.com. Fluxtaposed, thanks to the awesome contributions of those people. We were doing this live show, period. We made a bunch of other improvements to the show. I like to think they're improvements.
We're trying to make more improvements, but
we're trying to make more improvements. You know, we're trying to, you know, it's all relative, but it's by no means a requirement, and we're more than happy for the things we want to receive. And hopefully, hey, our next goal is at the $100 level, and then we're going to have a guaranteed giveaway every month. Right now, we're trying to do them as much as we can. But hey, stick around to episode 200 because we might have a couple giveaways.
We'll do a lot of giveaways. So there's so many Steam keys to give away.
It's going to be so many giveaways. It's going to be huge. Nobody does giveaways like me. I'm the best. Everyone says how good at giveaways I am. I'm the best at it. Let me tell you. So please check it out. And as always, we want to say thank you to all of our patrons, but a special thanks to our arbiters of awesomeness, Sean Capri, who even showed up here in the chat just to hear his name read, I think. Edwin Callow, Tyler Allen, Nathan Horton, and our executors of excellence, Josh Bologna Barbone, Dan Anthony, and Siri Renee. Thank you all for your support. We appreciate it. And remember, boys and girls, help control the pet population.
Ooh.
Have your pet spayed or neutered. I'm Jason. He's Lucas.
Help control the human population and neuter yourself.
Mutilate or neuter. And we'll be back for another. We'll be back for another episode of Fluxtaposed, hopefully with all the technical fun that Lucas rages over beforehand. So until then, let's do it. Goodbye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Clear.
Dark Souls 3. I'm getting that through Humble Bundle, so.